Just want to record this quick tutorial. I was working on a list view widget for control mappings, and I wanted my list view entry widget to be able to communicate with the list view widget that spawned it so that I could trigger a refresh of my list. And I was having a heck of a time trying to figure it out. And there are different ways you can do it. You can set up an event dispatcher and things like that, but that involves using other blueprints, other objects to store variables or set things up between them. And I wanted a way that they could just directly communicate with each other. Now, one way you can do it is as part of your list data that you're sending down, you can add a data element that is a reference to the list view's self. But something that Leaf Branch Games told me about, and I much appreciate you, Leaf Branch, for explaining this to me because I had absolutely no idea, and it was confusing to explain. So he took a bunch of time explaining this to me. So I really appreciate that. Shout out. His tutorial videos are great. You should check them out. And so basically what you can do is set up this chain of references in order to get a reference to the widget that spawned this widget. So you get owning list view, which returns a reference to this. By the way, this is inside the list view entry widget, and then this is the widget containing the list view that is calling it. So this first reference that you're getting, get owning list view, returns the actual controls list element in the designer, not the widget, just this element. And then when you get the parent of that element, that returns the canvas panel that the controls list is in. Then you get outer object, which is the root of the hierarchy of your entire designer for the widget that the controls list is in. And then you get outer object one more time, and that gets the actual widget that holds this entire hierarchy tree. You can then cast that to the specific blueprint, and then you can reference variables and events and things like that that are contained within that widget. So this is kind of a weird and cool way to do it. The more efficient way and the more reliable way is to have this widget add a reference to itself in the data package that it is sending down here. The reason why this can be a little unreliable is if you make any changes here to this hierarchy, you need to change this in order for it to work. Otherwise, it'll break. Whereas the self-reference that gets passed, that will just work all the time. But if for whatever reason you can't do that, you can't pass data from one to the other, and you need a widget to be able to communicate with the parent widget that called it, this is how you can pull that off. So I thought that was kind of interesting and not intuitive, and partly as a note to myself for the future, in case I ever need to do this, but also thought you guys might find this interesting. So hopefully you did. Have a good one.